Dear students, today topic is triggering of flip-flop. Before going to the topics, let's first we know that what is flip-flop and what is latch. Actually, both flip-flop and latches are the basic building block of the sequential logic circuit and which is used to store the one bit of informations, either 0 or 1. So both are maximum similar, but in the case of difference point, the latches are constructed by an logic gates, whereas flip-flops are constructed by a latch with an additional control input that is called as flip-flop, right? So this is the basic difference of latch and flip-flop in the term of constructions, right? So here the additional control input nothing but clock signals. Flip-flops are synchronous sequential circuits which change their states only when it is triggered by a clock input, right? So previously we have seen different types of latch, NAND SR latch, NOR SR latch, right? So in this case, the changes in the output states only occur when it is triggered by the clock signal, which means whenever we are applying the clock signal, that time only is possible to changes the output states, right? When the flip-flop is triggered by a clock pulses, then the flip-flop may be remain the same state or the flip-flop may be changed over to the next state, which depends upon the our applied input, right? So I can explain in very simple manner. Let's consider our input is this 0 0. So in this 0 0 combination, our next state is Qn, which means Qn 0 means Qn plus 1 also 0, right? If we want to change the state from 0 to 1, okay, it will happen only when we apply the clock pulse, triggering by the clock pulse, and the output 1 which depends upon the applied input. Whereas NAND gate, our applied input is 0 1. So when we apply 0 1 combination before applying the trigger pulse, which is not possible to produce the output, right? So when we apply the trigger of the clock signal, then only the output change occur, which depends upon the proper input, right? So this is the triggering of flip-flop. Is it clear? Let's see the types of triggering of flip-flop. One is edge triggering and second one is level triggering. Edge triggering flip-flop is nothing but the flip-flop is changing the state either at positive clock or rising edge or at negative clock, which is called as falling edge, right? So edge triggering is nothing but the output change state occur either at the positive edge or rising edge, otherwise negative edge or falling edge of the clock pulse. Okay, so this is the symbol representation of positive edge triggering, negative edge triggering. In negative edge triggering, here when extra added one bubble, right? If we used this symbol, representation is clock. That clock with additionally one bubble is called as negative edge trigger. Without bubble is called as positive edge trigger, right? So let's come to the diagram. This is initially our output is 0, right? Now the output changes from 0 to 1. It will happen only the positive edge pulse. So whenever the clock signal reaches the positive edge pulse, that time the output changes from one state to another state. So the output state is maintained the same up to the clock pulse again reaches the positive edge, because the output depends upon the positive edge only. So here the negative edge comes now, it is not going to change the output state. It will maintain the previous state, right? When it reaches the positive edge, then the output change occur from 0 to 1, right? Then 1 to 0. Then the output changes 0 to 1. It will happen on during the positive edge of the clock signal again. So this is the positive edge output diagram. and whereas this representation is negative edge output. So initially output is 0. So this output is still maintained 0 up to the clock signal reaches the negative edge. Once the clock signal reaches the negative edge or falling edge, the output changes from 0 to 1. Again this output change occur during only the negative edge, right? This negative edge, right? Is it clear? Then level triggering. Level triggering is nothing but the positive and negative clocking are generally known as level triggering. Positive and negative clock is nothing but zeros and 1, which means high level and low level. In this flip-flop responds to the 0 or 1 level of the clock. The output change occurred only this 0 level, 1 level or 0 level. Like similar to positive edge, negative edge. Here level triggering, the output change occurred during that logic 1 level or logic 0 level, right? So the level triggering can be used in a latches, whereas that edge triggering can be used in a flip-flops.